All right, here we are in the last gate of our quarter, and we have gate 33, the gate of privacy and the gate of retreat. So again, it sits in the throat center. So if you've noticed, we've gone through all of the gates in the throat center. So this gate sits in the throat. It is the voice of I remember or not. So the role of this being, instead of being an influence like the 31st gate was, this is about being, more of because the energy of the witness is on the other end, right? It is about being able to retreat and absorb what the experience has been. So it really is the end of the cyclical process. So I had shared when I talked about gate 53 about how the cycles one of the big cycles that I've seen in my life. And the 33rd gate is about retreat. And what's funny is that I did that. This is not in my body graph. 33 is not in my particular body graph. But when the cycle was done, I retreated. I was able to come to my farm. The very first weekend that I had off, my husband's family was up. We had no, it wasn't the first weekend. Sorry, it was a month later. And it was a long weekend, and we had a fabulous time. Had I stayed at that job, I wouldn't have been able to be there. So it was a period for me to retreat, to come back to my farm, to just take a breath, take a moment with my dog, my cats, my cattle, my husband, family, and be able to just take a breath. I hadn't taken a breath in a very long time. I was an extremely shallow breather when I worked there. And without being able to take a breath, it's pretty hard to just bring in the experience. So I was able to just breathe and remember all of the good things and the bad things that took place in that 10 years that I worked there. So retreat is so that you can take a moment to consider every aspect of the experience. Uncertainty comes from the space between the end of the cycle and the start of a new cycle. This pause allows you to reflect. And that's where I was. I was in the space between. We are more space than we are matter. And the space between, that uncertainty can get people to, that drives people crazy sometimes. And then they want to fill themselves with all of the stuff and things and noise. For me, it was a great time to just, I read so much stuff. I was able to just take a breath and sit on my deck and go walking my cattle and love it. So it's in our nature to share the lessons of the experience and to reveal its truths. This is in the channel of the prodigal. The channel of the prodigal is here to share. And what I love is, again, not a part of my design, but I saw how it played out for me. Because, of course, all of this is playing out in everybody. And I was able to, really drop into what the truth was for me. And the truth for me was a few things. And the universe, of course, orchestrated a lot of this. Is I saw that we were putting a lot of pressure on our current clients. And that wasn't truthful for me. And it wasn't something I could stand behind any longer. So I know it was all playing out exactly how it had to, because the cycle was coming to an end. So that is really fun, because of course, you know, we are in the abstract circuitry when we sit here and we look at this 33rd gate. So the not self tries to share experiences of others without the correct timing. So that's what's really important here is, you know, when people talk to you as somebody who has the 33rd gate, okay, what you're going to notice is that when you have the full channel, wow, people tell you stuff. The 33rd gate, same thing, right? People are going to talk to you. Because there's that underlying theme that's throughout there. And then you get to retreat and do what you need to do with this information. But what's important is the ethical backing of this. If it wasn't your particular experience, ask permission of the other person to share that experience with people. Because again, gossip flies and the truth crawls. Gossip flies and the truth crawls. You know, from one of my mentors in the BG5 Institute. So pay attention to your timing when you're sharing experiences. Because, you know, without that energy there, you can forget to, the not self wants to blurt out stuff that probably isn't yours to be blurting out. The 13th gate has heard all kinds of stories. And then blurting out those people's stories without permission, without you being invited to do so, or in the incorrect timing, can sound like gossip. So again, if anything in human design, if there's a response, if you feel invited or initiated to look into it, I would love that. I'm all about education. My whole design is, you know, based off of being an empowering a teacher, an educator. So, you know, individual, relationship, family, entrepreneurial, business, whatever it is. Education is, I think, is so important. However, I believe that the most important thing is to trust our strategy and authority so that we can interact on this planet correctly. Thank you.